Hi there, hello, I'm Pastor Pat, and welcome to Base Camp. I love fire. A lot of people do. It's nice for grilling, roasting marshmallows, making s'mores. On a cold, snowy day, it's fantastic to curl up next to a good fire. I've experienced some amazing times worshiping God around fires, and when you're camping, there's something almost mystical about staying up late and just gazing into the flames. Yep. Fire is pretty amazing, but as amazing as it can be, fire can also be awful. I often refer to Base Camp as being a ministry of Summit Church in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman! Yay! Now, Bozeman is in the Montana Rocky Mountains, nestled in where the Bridger and Gallatin ranges come together, and it's a pretty spectacular place to live. But recently, we experienced a fire-induced nightmare. On the afternoon of Friday, September 4th, smoke was spotted near a popular hiking area just northeast of town in the foothills of the Bridgers. By that evening, over 80 acres had burned. By the next morning, it was 400. Then, on Saturday afternoon, the wind picked up. In a matter of hours, over 7,000 acres were ablaze. People were forced to evacuate. Farm and ranch animals were simply turned loose to run for their lives. An entire valley was up in smoke. Firefighters' lives were endangered because of how fast the inferno spread. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. By the time the wind died down and rain and snow came on Monday, at least 28 homes had burned and hundreds of people were stranded in shelters because it was unsafe to return home. It was awful. But it was also amazing. Hundreds of firefighters ran toward the flames to fight them, putting their own lives on the line to help others. Some even parachuting into the mountains to go where vehicles couldn't take them. Daring pilots flew helicopters with giant buckets to drop water on the fire. Others flew giant tanker planes that would dive bomb the blaze with fire suppressant. Search and rescue was on the ground, making sure everyone got out safely. Police cleared roads and directed people away from the flames and smoke. Medics treated the injured and got them to safety. Meanwhile, those who weren't first responders did their best to help those who were. They donated water, food, whatever was needed to help those who were trying to save people and their homes. Local restaurants gave free meals, and for those who were displaced, ordinary people opened up their homes to give them some place to stay. If they had farm animals, they volunteered their vehicles, farms, and ranches to put them up. For those who lost everything, donations of clothes, toys for kids, food, whatever was needed came flooding in. The love, support, and prayer was overwhelming. In fact, so much came in that it was more than what was needed, and the extra began to be given to another Montana community that was also experiencing a devastating fire. As of today, the fire still smolders, but I have no doubt that our community will make it because we're all standing together, working to beat back the flames, to save and help one another. It reminds me of a passage in the Bible, Romans chapter 10, verses 13 through 15. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. There's a world full of people who are lost and dying. The smoke clouds their vision, choking their breath. The heat of the flames burns them and threatens all that they hold dear. But God wants to save them. And there are some pretty remarkable people called missionaries who are running toward that fire, working to save all that they can. But they can't do it alone. The firefighters in Bozeman needed the support of the police, medics, and other first responders in order to do their job. They worked hand in hand, and they all need the support of the community in order to get what they needed: food, water, funds, places to sleep. And the people being saved, they needed places to go, safe places to be taken in and provided for. Whether a firefighter, first responder, community member, we all had a part to play in order to save people. It wasn't just the frontline firefighters. The same is true when it comes to reaching lost, hurting, and dying people all over the world with the message and love of Jesus. The missionaries are like firefighters, working tirelessly to reach and save people, sometimes putting their own lives on the line. But they can't do it alone. They need the support of pastors and churches and regular people in order to do what God has called us all to be a part of, reaching the lost. You may not be a missionary. That doesn't mean you're not a part of missions. The firefighters working around Bozeman are heroes. They did and are still doing great things. But the rest of us in Bozeman, we also played a huge part in working together to stop the fire and save the people it threatened. We are all part of the same team. Missionaries are heroes. They do great things, but the rest of us also have a huge part in working together to save the people threatened by the fires of sin, darkness, hopelessness, and hell. We are all part of the same team. Let's read Romans chapter 10, verses 13 through 15 again. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then can they call on the one that they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. We know Jesus wants to save people, and the only way they can be saved is to hear about Him. But the only way they can hear about Him is if we all work together to make it happen. What is your role? Some people are missionaries. Great! But most of us aren't. We need to support and send those who are. We do that by praying for them, by encouraging them through messages, letters, and gifts, and by giving money to help pay for their costs so that they can continue to do what God has called them to. Here at Base Camp, we give money to BGMC, Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge. That money goes to help missionaries to continue to fight on the front lines to save people. If you want to send money to BGMC through Base Camp, you can either drop it off here at Summit Church or mail it to us at Summit Church, 921 West Mendenhall, Bozeman, Montana, 59715. Just make sure to label it BGMC. You can also give on our website, summitchurchmt.com. If you attend another church, talk to them to see how you can support their missionaries. After all, we're all in this together, part of the same team. The fires in the Bridgers, they were awful. But it was amazing to see the community rally together to fight them and help one another. The fires of sin and darkness are awful, but it is amazing to see the people of God rally together to fight them and help one another. Let's continue to be a part of what God is doing. Thanks for joining us here at Base Camp, a ministry of Summit Church in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. You can always join us live here at the church every Sunday at 9:15 and 11 o'clock. Also, check us out everywhere else we show up online, on Facebook and YouTube at Summit Church MT or our website, summitchurchmt.com. Until next time, I'm Pastor Pat. Bye!